Welcome, baseball fans, to Diamond Kings Memorial Day edition. This is a show where we discuss the news and happenings of baseball as part of the Sports Kings Media Network. It's been a busy weekend of baseball action, and we can't wait to get right into it. First of all, definitely want to give a shout out to all of our veterans, and especially those that might have known somebody or been affected by somebody killed in combat or otherwise. There's no greater sacrifice, and we can't play games like baseball or live the freedoms we do without those that put their lives on the line, and unfortunately many times that they make the ultimate sacrifice. So hats off to veterans, hats off to those who have been killed in combat, especially those left behind. There's no words that can express the gratitude that we feel here at Reading Between the Scenes at Sports Kings for all you out there fighting for our freedoms. It's been, as I said, joining me is an all-star panel of Sports Kings bloggers and baseball experts to again talk the news of the weekend and what's going on in baseball right now. My name is David Whitlock, and I am down here in Houston, Texas. We got some rainstorms coming through the city, so I hope I can make it through and there's no power outages, but otherwise I'll be moderating the discussion. With us, as always, starting off with our man from Hartport, New York. If he is here, he's had some technical difficulties. Kelvin LaPierre.
No, I think he's been bouncing in and out.
Oh, wait, no,
he's back. Come back.
He's like a Buffalo Sabres icon or something. But also from Texas, joining us is Leroy McConnell III. How are things up in Dallas? Are you guys getting the storms?
No storm, but plenty of a drought.
Yeah, we could use the storms. I'm not complaining, actually. It's been very, very dry here in Texas. Also joining us is Michael Prosser from Florence, South Carolina. Year before the storms, I think, Michael.
Oh, yes, thank goodness. Hey, right quick shout-outs. First off, I want to give a shout-out to the Detroit Tigers for busting out their Zubaz uniforms. Classy stuff. Younger viewers, if you don't know what Zubaz were, go ask your parents about how horrible they were. Second, just to reiterate what Dave said, I'd like to, give a nice, a nice shout-out to the two gentlemen that I have to proudly serve in the United States Navy with. My brother, who's serving in the United States Marine Corps, my father's retired Army, the countless men and women that we have, serving our country throughout. Words cannot express, how deep our gratitude is. So here's to you.
Excellent. Thank you. Well said. And finally, our man from Rochester, New York, upstate, it's Kevin L. Smith.
Happy Memorial Day, everyone! And I just gotta do this. I gotta show off my alma mater, my bonnet pride. Go Bonnies! I had to do that. Just had to.
Oh, there you go. I'm always showing my school pride here. Kelvin is back with us. He's gone to outside. Apparently, he's wandering around. Kelvin, how are you today?
Doing good. Just want to wish everybody else that's in the military, prior military, past, veteran, World War II, World War I, any other war we've been in. Happy Memorial Day. It's all thanks to you guys. We're free and live like we do now. Thanks, guys.
And to you too, Kelvin, since you did serve yourself.
Thanks, man.
Absolutely. Proud to have a veteran like Kelvin among us. Starting with the first subject today, we thought about doing this last week, but it got pushed off. But we're a little bit more than a quarter way through the season, and now's about the time to talk who is your MVP pick in each league, Cy Young pick in each league, and Rookie of the Year. And I came into the discussion with no homework whatsoever. I mean, I know who's doing well, so your job is to convince me who you think should be the MVP, Cy Young, and Rookie of the Year, and then I'll make a vote at the end as to which of you was the most convincing. So I think Michael was one of the more excited ones about it, if he's there. Michael, your thoughts? MVP, Cy, and Rookie, both leagues.
All right, so let's see. For my AL MVP, this is going to be one of those where a lot of people are like, "Are you serious?" Nelson Cruz. Why not? The guy, he left, the bright lights of Texas, took his talents to the Delmarva Peninsula, is just crushing the ball in Baltimore. I mean, him and Crush Davis have this 1-2 combination that, that's scaring a lot of people in the AL East. If they can get some pitching together, Ubaldo Jimenez can kind of, pick things back up a little bit. We've always been waiting for Ubaldo to Jimenez to kind of pick things back up again. That Orioles team could be a little bit. They could be dangerous. I'm not gonna lie to you, they could be dangerous. For my AL Cy Young, I gotta go with Mark Burley. 8-1 in his past, 9-10 outings. He did get slammed, I think, against the Yankees. But other than that, the guy's been lights out, and he's on a Toronto Blue Jays team that's kind of, always been that underachiever. They've always either been too injured, or they've always just whatever it was, they've just never been able to put it together. For the Roy in the AL, it's a toss-up between your boy George Springer and Jose Abreu. And despite the fact that Abreu's out injured, I got to give it to Jose Abreu. The guy's just been a spark plug for this White Sox team. When he's in the lineup. Now, obviously, we're going to have to monitor how well his health is once he comes back. But if he continues it, there's no reason why he shouldn't be Rookie of the Year. For the NL, it's a little bit tougher. I got to give I can't really name a Rookie of the Year yet. I haven't really been able to pin one down. But the NL MVP is Giancarlo Stanton. I mean, aside from Jose Fernandez, who is now done for the year, he's the bright spot of this Marlins team. He's the only hope they have. He is the Obi-Wan Kenobi of the Miami Marlins. And now that we've gotten that Star Wars reference out of the way, again, the Cy Young was going to have to go to Jose Fernandez, but now that he's gone, I'm going to have to give it to Adam Wainwright. The wily veteran is at it again in St. Louis. Don't blink, because this guy will he'll blow stuff by you at deceptive speed. His curveball is just as ridiculous as it's been in past seasons. That St. Louis team is starting to get the ball rolling a little bit better. Right now, it's Adam Wainwright with the Cy Young.
All right, no, that's good across the board. Hey, if I like your no name in the National League Rookie. If you don't have one yet, that's okay. You don't have to name one. We got to wait and see. It's just too close, or nobody's stepped up yet. I think that's good rationale. Let's go to Kevin this time. Kevin, your thoughts on all three awards, both leagues?
I'm going to switch sides a little bit. I'm going to start with the NL.
Okay.
So, as like Michael, I really can't pinpoint Rookie of the Year at this time. It's a tough call. But when it comes to the Cy Young, I have to go with Johnny Cueto. Even though the Reds aren't doing as good this year, I think Johnny Cueto has really come back from all the injuries, all the struggles the past couple seasons, and really put it together a nice, great season. I think he's going to end it well, and he's going to snatch that award after this postseason. As your NL MVP, I have to go with Giancarlo Stanton. And even though there might be a chance that he won't be a Marlin for the rest of his career, there's a good chance that the season he has this year, just being pretty much the big power swing in that lineup and carrying that team with Fernandez out for the season is just incredible what he's doing, especially since where the Marlins are right now without Fernandez. And for your AL, I would have to go, for Rookie of the Year, I have to go with your boy, George Springer. He's just going to be such a great revelation for that Astros team that struggled so much the last couple of years. And his power, just the fact that he can do anything is incredible. And your Cy Young would have to be, against all my Yankee bias, would have to be Masahiro Tanaka. He's been everything and more for this Yankees team. He's been the clear ace with the recent struggles of CC now that he's injured. And for your AL MVP, I would have to go with the tough one. I would have to go. It's a tough one. I think I'm drawing a blank here on this one. I don't know. There's not really I can't really think of a pure hitter that could really snatch that award right away. I think it'll be down the wire.
Yeah, no, I think I agree with you. We haven't seen one yet that is ready for prime time. So let's move over to let's see, Leroy. What are your thoughts?
I guess I'll start American League. Well, considering that I watched Nelson Cruz leave Texas, and we brought in French fielder and Chu. Well, Chu was been pretty good, but and he pretty much took Nelson Cruz's spot. But we are missing the home run ball down here in Arlington, and I have to agree. Nelson Cruz is a big miss for us, and he is MVP for the American League. I mean, if he get that that batting average up, he would really be a superstar. But 16 home runs and 45 RBIs, you can't beat it. And like I said, I don't think the steroids had anything to do with it. Nelson's always been able to hit that long ball. He's having an excellent season, so I'll probably go with Cruz for American League. My Cy Young pitcher will be the same as the Rookie of the Year pitcher, Tanaka. He is keeping the Yankees in the race. He's walking walk. He's doing the talking. He's talking walk, whatever you call it. But a 7-1 record. He's advertising. He's something special. National League. Hey, only rookie I know in the National League is Billy Hamilton. I watched him the other day. I guess it was against the Cardinals, and I watched him swipe 2 bases, and Molina didn't even throw the ball. He just let him swipe it. So he's probably the only legit National League Rookie of the Year candidate. I don't want to say Stanton for the MVP because everybody says Stanton's having a hell of a year, but also dark horse is Yasiel Puig. I mean, he is electrifying. He's 10 home runs, 38 RBI, he's batting .349, and like I said, to me, he is must-see TV. Every time he gets to the plate, every time he's out in the outfield, he does something special. So I would go with Puig as my MVP. As far as Cy Young, Wainwright, he's doing what Wainwright usually does, 8-2, leading right behind Cueto as far as the ERA. But I also like Samardzija. I know he won't win it, but he's been pitching lights out. He just has no help at all. Wainwright probably gonna get the Cy Young, but I had to give respect for Cueto and Samardzija as well.
Yeah, I think I certainly agree with you. I'm having trouble. Kelvin, I think I've muted you, and I don't know how to unmute you.
I think Kelvin has to unmute it too.
Got me?
Yeah. There we go.
Hey, we got you, Kelvin.
There's some background noise with the I don't know, dogs running around there, so didn't mean to cut you out.
Yes, I was.
That's
why.
Yeah.
But your thoughts, Kelvin, through
Yeah, but then
AL
he
and
just
NL,
texted
and I'll
back,
get
he
my
said-
final thoughts.
Is anybody?
All right, I'm going to make everything quick because my phone's about to die. So, AL MVP is Jose Abreu out of Chicago. NL, not NL. The AL Cy Young goes to Masahiro Tanaka, beating out Mark Burley, barely, but he beats him out right now. He beats him out. We go to the NL. I have Adam Wainwright as of right now, only because Saltalamacchia has no help in Chicago, and then I don't have.
Samardzija.
Yeah, Samardzija. He has no help. He has no help in the NL in Chicago. He has no help whatsoever. I mean, you can't have a 1.36 ERA and have 0 wins in 10 starts. It's just unheard of in today's league. But I don't have an NL besides Billy Hamilton for Rookie of the Year, so I'm going to have to agree with Leroy for the first time in a long time is Hamilton for Rookie of the Year in the NL.
Yeah, you guys made some good points, and it's funny because you said
Hey,
spring in
Dave.
the AL. Sometimes I forget that the Astros are actually in the American League.
Until 30 minutes from now, Ma. I told you
that. So here's who I think was the most convincing. I definitely think it's Giancarlo Stanton.
He has a permit. He's over, so.
On Memorial Day, he has like some of the longest home runs that I've ever seen.
Should be fun.
I'm going to go with Cueto as the Cy Young Award, or Cueto. He's been so dominant. He had one rough start recently, but he's been killing it for my fantasy team. And
I'll be fine in 30 minutes if you just let me drive in 30 minutes. Jesus Christ.
He can be on Rookie of the Year there, so then shifting to the American League. I think Nelson Cruz. He's also one of my fantasy teams. I was looking, and he's been surprising in his numbers. Playing for Baltimore. Baltimore's right there at the top of the AL East. That's kind of perfect. I think with the injury to Abreu, that there's still a little verdict out on him. He might turn it around. He might if he comes back and ends up raking 40, 45 home runs, overtaking the home run lead, it's definitely him. But otherwise, I'm going to go with Nelly right now. I like the Mark Burley that Michael brought forward. That guy has been around forever. He throws nothing more than about 83. Knows how to pitch. Toronto's in first place. So let's give Burley the nod there. And then Rookie of the Year, hey, I love George Springer as much as the next guy. He's only played about maybe half the season so far because he came up late, but it's definitely between Abreu, and then I think that's where Tanaka comes in. Is how can you look past Tanaka as Rookie of the Year? And you could say, well, he's a veteran, but Abreu's a veteran from Cuba. So you got two a little bit older, non-typical rookies coming in. So that's where we are there. We'll probably check in with this maybe next after the All-Star break with this group, see what changed and not. But otherwise, we'll move on to the next subject.
Hey, Dave, right quick, how's this for breaking news? Jeff Samardzija just won his first game tonight.
I saw that. Actually, I meant to mention that. I was watching some of it on WGN this afternoon. There's some rain delays in other games, and he was trailing, and they were kind of lamenting that he may not get that first win. But if there's
10 strikeouts in that double.
About time.
Yeah. If there's a guy who's not going to end up on his team right now at the end of the year, it's probably Samardzija. That guy could be a real weapon for a lot of NFL teams as wide receiver, but also as a pitcher.
He would have made a heck of a tight end.
For a team like the Red Sox or Yankees, which have had a lot of pitching injuries, and then we won't even get to Clay Buchholz today. But speaking of the Red Sox, so we will talk about Clay Buchholz today. Red Sox have been miserable the last 2 weeks. We're talking about a 10-game losing streak. Finally broken today on a Clay Buchholz start. The dude walked like 8 guys in 3 and change innings, or maybe he got through 4. I don't know. He was awful. The team looks awful. They finally signed Stephen Drew last week. That, to me, is not going to make a difference. What's going to happen with the Red Sox this year? Are they just that bad? Should they rebuild? Are they where the Astros were a few years ago? They got too many old guys. They just need to start over. They've got Xander Bogaerts. They've got Jackie Bradley. What do they do with their pitching rotation? This time, before his phone runs out, we'll go back over to Kelvin. So unmute yourself and let us know your thoughts.
Well, let's see. You had Napoli and everybody else in their right mind hitting at the right time last year, and you get to the regular season this year. You can't call it a World Series hangover a quarter of the way through the season anymore. So now it's the fact that your key players that produced last year are no longer producing when it's clutch like last year. They produced when it was clutch last year. I believe they hit, with runners in scoring position, it was like 356 or something like that. That's just an outrageous number. You're not going to hit that on a day-in, day-out basis. I don't care who you are. Derek Jeter's not going to do that for a whole season. Melky Cabrera, anybody's not going to hit that. Well, Melky Cabrera might, because he's just but anybody else is not going to hit that consistent, that great with runners in scoring position and drive-in runs like they did last year. Like right now, they re-signed Stephen Drew, which is smart because their shortstop position, batting-wise, has been hurting them in the lineup. Their center fielder, Bradley Jr., I believe it is now playing center field for them.
Yeah, Bradley.
He's a great defensive player, but he's not an offensive player, which is what they've found out. And that's why he wasn't the penciled-in number 1 day starter in spring training. So you have to look at it like this, like I do, is their hitting is not going to stay where it was last year, and they're paying the price for not upgrading and figuring it out during the offseason. Like I predicted this over the offseason that this was going to happen. You can't stay that hot with Napoli, Bradley Jr., and you take Stephen Drew out of the lineup playing shortstop who hit almost 300 last year. It's just not going to happen on a day-in, day-out basis like it did last year for the Red Sox.
Yeah, and Napoli just went down to injury, and then, of course, Jacoby Ellsbury defected to another team. We don't have to mention that team, or we can mention that team. But Leroy, what are your thoughts? Red Sox, are they done? Are they going to make a comeback?
Well, you just mentioned about Napoli. He just went on the 15-day disabled list today. Middlebrooks on the disabled list. Victorino's on the disabled list.
Right.
They're getting older. Jackie Bradley can't hit his weight. But I think Escobar woke up a sleeping giant last night. I mean, look what they did today. They came back from 6 down to Atlanta. I hate the Boston Red Sox. They probably that was the best thing that ever happened to them yesterday, having that fight. So it's still early. It's still May. So the NLEs will beat each other up, and somehow the Red Sox will find a way to come back. And who knows? Anything can happen in that division. So I don't count them out. Just because they lost 10, they still have a chance.
No, I think you're right. I think that division, I mean, there's nobody separating themselves. They're not facing like the San Francisco Giants or an Oakland A's or Detroit Tigers that have put, 5, 6, 8
Toronto
games.
Blue Jays are leading the division right now. And
Yeah.
are you confident they're going to stay there? No.
I'm confident. Nobody else is, but I'm confident.
Can I add something to that real quick, Leroy?
Yeah, go.
Yes, sir.
The only reason the Red Sox are still in this is because the whole AL East, the first 2 months of the year, they play each other like 9 times apiece. So that's the only reason the Red Sox are still in there.
Yeah. All right, Michael, what are your thoughts on the Sox?
Since just in case we have young viewers watching the show, I'm not going to give you my full thoughts on the Boston Red Sox. I will say this: this team is about as banged up as Leroy's Rangers are right now. So I don't know if it's excusable in a sense. It's unexpected because it is the defending champion Boston Red Sox, and if this were still Theo Epstein's team, this would never have happened. However, it seems like, since Theo decided to take his talents to Chicago, Illinois, this Boston Red Sox team is kind of, been un-Boston-like. Yeah, they had the rallying cry last year. They had the rallying cry last year, but what are they going to rally around this year? I pray to God that there's no sort of, major catastrophe that happens to Boston again to where they use it as a rallying cry. So they've got to rally around each other, and they're able to do that, especially with pieces out. Victorino out. Will Middlebrooks, supposed to be, third baseman of the future. He hasn't really been held the past couple years. You lose a piece, Kobe Ellsbury, when he defects all the way to that team down in New York. I mean, it's almost like when he left, he went into the Big Green Monster, ripped the heart out of Boston, and took it with him to New York. It's a debacle, and I'm blaming today's Braves loss on the rain. Yes, I'm pulling a Milli Vanilli and blaming it on the rain. Shout out to every. And it got to the point where it was like, I think it was like 1 before the rain delay. I turned the TV off, opened a beer, and counted it as a win. And then I get the update on my phone. The game has been delayed. The 6-6. I was like, okay, this is ridiculous. But this Boston team needs to figure something out, and they need to figure it out fast. Because once they start outside of the AL East, they being the Tampa Rays. I mean, they really could be in the summer by the All-Star break. Not impossible.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. So we blamed it on the rain. We blamed it on the fight yesterday. Lots of other reasons. That I think they just lost 10 in a row, and it's about time that they won one. Kevin, what do you think about the Sox? Do you think they're going to compete?
It doesn't look good. As much as I have a little bit of love for the Boston Red Sox, I'm not a total Red Sox hater due to my Yankee fandom. I just think the way the AL is going this year, I just don't see them really climbing up to the top and being the team they were last year because, like everybody pretty much has been saying, they had the rally cry, they had the Boston Strong, and I mean, I don't want them to have another incident like that, but it's just they had something to just be for the city. Just people will look for them to pick the city up, and they did successfully by winning the World Series. But I don't see the Red Sox turning it around. They were in a hole. They got in a fight with their obvious rival, the Rays now. I honestly think they're more of a rival with the Rays than the Yankees now because they've gone about like 50 fights now in the past 5 years. I lost count.
I agree with you
But-
there, Kevin. I agree with you.
It's just, and they snapped, and they don't know what to do. I feel like they're a very lost team, and the Jacoby Ellsbury hurt, leaving going to New York hurt them a lot more than they think they did. I just don't see this team turning around very soon.
Yeah, I forgot. So we blamed it on the rain. We blamed it on the fights and the fact that there wasn't a disaster. No, I think they did pull through last year. They played above their heads last year. Talent-wise, they were not near the ball clubs that they had in the mid-2000s when they won several World Series with dominant starters, a great closer, which they did have last year, and just hitters up and down the lineup.
Yeah, like last year, they just came together as one, and they put those beards together, and they just played their hearts out.
Yeah,
But
and
it's-
it was fun to watch.
Where's
As
the
a Marshall fan,
leadership on this team?
Yeah.
Where's Dustin Pedroia been?
Yeah, exactly. This is when a veteran manager who's been in the league, numerous years, and in losing skills like this is when, the manager would go, hey, we can pull out of this. I don't see this team having at least, any sort of that. I mean, it's almost like the chicken and beer incident that was happening in the Red Sox locker room a couple years ago is still going on, and it wasn't Terry Francona.
Yeah, no.
It seems like it's still there.
I
It's almost like they're going. I've like a lot of writers lately have been saying it's like we're gonna go worst from first to worst. It's.
But keep in mind, they lost 10 straight, and they still only 7.5 out of first. So there's still time.
Yeah. Plenty of time. They just
What does it say about the AL East?
Yeah. What do you do with a guy like Clay Buchholz? What do you do? Their starting rotation as whole. Will these guys get healthy? Will Ortiz be able to hold up over the whole season or not? One guy, maybe we'll have a Blue Jays segment next episode, but I don't think I heard Edwin Encarnacion's name mentioned in the MVP, and that guy is.
He had a monster week, didn't he?
He has a monster May in general.
Right.
Did he hit one
He
today?
had about 13 home runs.
Yeah.
15 or 16, I think.
Yeah.
I think he hit one today.
You're talking about a guy that's carrying a team that's in first place in a tough division, and he's been a force.
Yeah, because I certainly haven't heard Jose Batista's name as much this year.
No, not as much.
It's kind of depressing. I'm like, Joey Bats, where you at, man?
Right.
I'm waiting.
If he steps up and starts playing like he has in stretches, and Mark Burley keeps pitching,
since that injury where he lost like the last 55 games of a season or something, he really hasn't been him. It was right after he hit 50 something, close to 60, and he had that injury, and he had team player since. It's kind of depressing.
Yeah.
Melky Cabrera is playing some baseball. He's batting .313. He's like second and third in hits in the major league, so he's doing this thing as well.
Yeah.
Steroids.
His post steroids career
He's gonna be Melky, man.
Steroids are getting him singles. He's right on his own.
Shout out to Miguel Tejada right now.
They got him a batting title.
jeez.
And we got to move on, gentlemen. The next subject we want to talk is one, again, near and dear to hearts of Yankees fans, Robinson Cano. He bolted New York and the friendly confines of Yankee Stadium, and now he's playing in the unfriendly confines of Safeco for a team that's in, I guess last I checked, maybe somewhere between second or third place for the Mariners. And he is not, I don't believe, hit a home run at home in Seattle. And overall, he's kind of just been mediocre. For the kind of money that Jay-Z got him, I think the Mariners would want a little bit more production. They would want some Edwin Encarnacion production out of Cano rather than, I can't even think of an analogy. But, Michael, I know you were most interested in this subject. You wanted to talk some Cano. I think you predicted this. What are your thoughts on Cano going to Seattle?
As soon the first words out of my mouth when I read the ticker down at the bottom of ESPN that Robinson Cano signed that monster deal was, he is going to suck ass in Seattle. Name me 5 people that have hit more than probably 30 home runs in Safeco Field. Go ahead, I'll wait. Exactly. I don't think it's happened yet.
Edgar Martinez.
Okay, there's one. Maybe.
He never played in
One.
Safeco.
Ken Griffey Jr. Well,
He
actually,
never played in
no,
Safeco.
Safeco.
Safeco, no, there's zero
He
in
played in the
Safeco.
Kingdom.
Exactly.
Zero in Safeco.
That's a good point. I feel like
Adrian Beltre was
Safeco.
probably the closest.
Safeco.
Safeco is also power.
No, Beltre didn't hit in Safeco, I don't think.
It's official.
Beltre was gone for half the year.
Any park that ends in co, Safeco, Petco, you can't hit that shit. You cannot hit anything out of there. Nothing. I don't care if Giancarlo Stanton could sign a 10-year deal in Seattle tonight, and he wouldn't hit 30 home runs out of Safeco Field. You just can't do it. Now, granted, his road production has been, it's been good, not great, but it's not worth all the money that they threw at him. He's been producing away from Safeco, but not at Safeco. And I think everybody was expecting, he was going to, pick up right where he left off in New York. Yeah. Do you guys forget the dimensions of Yankee Stadium and how, home run friendly it is? That little porch there is just it's so nice for hitters. Not at Safeco, man. You can't do it. Although I will say this, I give credit to the Seattle Mariners front office. That team is starting to finally pick up more. They the young Justin Smoke, Dustin Ackley, the Hinshin Irakumi guy, who's he's doing better. He did kind of get shelved the other night or yesterday.
Can't forget King Felix.
Yeah, and of course you can't forget King Felix. You don't even have to discuss King Felix. King Felix doesn't even need to be discussed. He is what he is. He's as advertised. He just is finally having a team around him, and it's nice to see. But as far as Cano goes, if he doesn't pick it up within the next 2 years, I don't expect him to be in Seattle much longer.
Yeah,
2 years. I give him 2 years in Safeco.
The comment I'll make on that is it seems like every guy that signs a huge contract always falls on their face. And again, we're only a couple months into the season. So I agree. We'll give him more than 2 months. We'll give him 2 years. But Kevin, what do you think about Cano? Is this a complete failure yet? Did the Mariners make a mistake? Did he make a mistake or what?
Is it my turn?
Yeah, go Kevin.
Okay. I just only hitting one homer in Safeco. I mean, if you see like the big contracts like Richie Sexson and Andre Beltre back in the day, and of course Adrian Beltre has revived his career, but Richie Sexson is just his career was lost.
Anymore?
No, he ended his career with the Yankees, oddly enough. But but yeah, I just don't see Cano staying in Seattle because I feel like he's going to get frustrated with the fact that he can't hit in there. I know people say he's just there for the money now, but the guy wants to hit. He wants to win a World Series game, obviously. But I don't still think he's going to win it with Seattle.
No, they should have gone to Seattle.
Kelvin, in Houston.
Yeah, maybe. Kelvin, what do you think? Cano, failure, success?
Well, let's see. I'd have to go back a long ways on the Facebook back to when he signed in Seattle with that huge deal. I called this happening. He's going to be a doubles hitter in Safeco Park. That is all he's going to hit in Safeco. He'll hit maybe if he's lucky 10 to 12 home runs in Safeco Park. It's not going to happen in Safeco. The money he signed is outrageous. I go back and look at. I think St. Louis is a better hitting ballpark than LA for both Pujols and then Hamilton leaving the Texas Rangers. I think LA is a better hitting ballpark, and they're still not hitting the home runs, well, till this year Pujols is. But before then, they were not hitting the home runs that they're used to hitting in both St. Louis and Texas. So I called this along with Michael at the beginning of the year. He's a doubles hitter in a big ballpark, and that's exactly what he's doing in Seattle. It's not that he's not hitting. He's not producing with home runs. He is getting the RBI totals he's had the last 5 years in New York. He's getting the hits and doubles. His doubles are actually up from his time this year than they were last year. So don't say he's not hitting. He's hitting. He's just not hitting the long ball like he did in New York. And that's not going to happen when you have a left-handed batter hitting a 316 to like a 340 down the line. It's exactly what's going to happen.
Right. Good points indeed. Leroy. Could the Rangers use Cano? What do you think?
Hey, we'll take him. Look.
You guys got Ian Kinsler. You don't need him.
Hey,
Not.
we got Shinsu, and we've won 4 out of 5. Thank you. Beat
And
Detroit 5 out of 4. We won today too.
Nice.
Cano has never hit. He's hit over 30 home runs once. He hit 33. That's his career high. Seattle, if you sign him to be a home run hitter, then you made a mistake. You shouldn't have given him that money. You forget, Cano is batting .332. He's second in the American League in hitting. There's only one other guy in the American League that has more hits than he has. He has 65 hits. The leader's got 70. Cano is doing what Cano does. Home run production is down, but he's not a home run hitter. He's still putting the ball in play. He's getting on base. Seattle is 500, believe it or not. So, I mean, to me, I don't think it's all a fail. Besides, he can crawl all he wants. In 2 years, if it is a failure, who the hell is going to take that contract? Not from him. I mean, he's not putting the ball out of the park. You don't pay someone over $200 million to hit doubles, and he was not a home run hitter. So, I mean, he's stuck there. But don't crap on his stats because he's still having a very productive year.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think you got to look a little bit past the power numbers. Again, it's only 2 months. A lot of hitters in their first month in a ballpark struggle to get settled in, get comfortable at the plate. The team is 500. It's good to see that the average is there, but I think certainly for that kind of money, again, like you just said, Leroy, you don't pay that really top dollar for a guy to get a lot of singles, doubles, and 330. So
and there is a point where Cano's home run production is like drastically gone lower every season. So, and it has been at Yankee Stadium. Like
June to August, he's not that great.
Yeah, like he's not going to hit the 30 home runs he did at the beginning of his career.
Like I said, he's only hit 30 home runs once.
Yeah.
He's never hit.
But he's
30
still in the 20s.
Yeah.
Yeah, but name me another second baseman who consistently hits 20 to 25 home runs.
Ryan Sandberg, is he retired?
I'm pretty sure he is.
You had Dan Ogler who used to do it.
Yeah.
Ian
Soriano
Kinsler did it for like a couple years. And anybody else?
Yeah.
I can't really think of anything.
No, exactly. So that when you find a second baseman who can hit you 20 to 25, and you pay him that money, you expect him to hit 20 to 25 regardless.
And he's only on pace for like 15 all year.
Yeah.
No, he don't pay for 6. But you know what? He's on pace to getting 211 hits. So
I mean, if he hits
hits in the season, you're doing something right.
If he hits the 6 home runs and he gets 100 RBIs, like there you go. Then
let's not forget he also doesn't have the protection he did in the Yankees lineup in Seattle. He doesn't have that in Seattle.
Matter of fact, who's bad behind him? Don't know.
That guy from they just signed from Milwaukee, Hart or whatever his name is, Corey Hart.
Oh,
yeah.
Corey Hart.
Oh wow.
Ooh, that's a real danger threat right there. I mean, yeah, he was dangerous 2 years ago. Last year he didn't play at all because he tore his ACL.
I was about to say, Casey McGehee was dangerous 2 years ago. That's not safe.
Ouch. All right. We got to move to the final segment, boys. We've always talked a little bit of off sports in our last segment. This time we're going to talk baseball. We'll talk a little college baseball. The NCAA brackets came out today, or the equivalent thereof, with regionals, super regionals. Everybody was seeded. Real quick, what does everybody think? Pick a team or two who you think to watch, and what do you watch the postseason? What do you look for prospects? That's always a good time to see who the big prospects are. And since South Carolina's had a lot of success, we'll go back to Michael first this time. College baseball picks. Who's going to make the World Series? Who's going to win it?
If I were a gambler, if I were going to get my Kenny Rogers on hardcore today, I would not bet against a team from the state of South Carolina. Say what you want about Clemson pulling a Clemson, despite what sport. It's always a very competitive baseball team, no matter what. I have very fond memories of watching former Cubs great. I wouldn't even call him a great. Former Cubs prospect, now Colorado Rocky, Tyler Colvin teeing up a grand slam off of some schmuck from Oral Roberts. They're always dangerous, and of course, you can't discredit that team from Columbia, that other South Carolina team. They've kind of been good in Omaha. They kind of call Omaha their second home. At least everybody that I work with does. If I were Kenny Rogers and I were a gambler, I wouldn't bet against the team from South Carolina.
No, not a bad pick. I think if you go look, a team from Texas has beat South Carolina twice in the final game of the College World Series. Not recent.
Arizona once.
As recent as 02, but I think they beat them in like 75.
That was some history there.
That's right. Leroy, speaking of Texas, speaking of college teams, what do you think about the College World Series? You follow anybody?
No, is the Longhorns in there?
Longhorns are in it, my man.
How about LSU? They're number 1 seed, aren't they?
LSU is the top seed.
I'm going with LSU, the purple and gold.
All right. Now to New York. You guys may not have as much college baseball as we have in the warm South.
Where is Ryan Cantor on this? He's supposed to be the group, right?
Yeah, he wrote an article today
Where is he at?
on our site.
Where is he at?
Of course, he's from Western because he's a homer, but Kevin, you follow any college? You got any picks?
I have this instinct that Oregon State will run away with it. Because they've been so dominant for years that I just think they'll give LSU a run for their money. And well, I mean, you can't make money in college, but so it's figure of speech doesn't really work. But
Johnny Manziel.
just kidding. But yeah, I see Oregon State pulling it out.
Yeah, they are the national top seed. Kelvin, your thoughts? Any college picks?
Well, I'm not sure if UNC made the field this year. I'm pretty sure they did. There might be a lower seed in it, but they're usually pretty good, pretty dominant in the NCAA tournament. I'm a UNC guy all the way, so I never fare away from them, no matter what seed they are. So I'm going with UNC if they made it. And then I'm going to give you another wild card, which is the Ole Miss, I believe, made it for the SEC, if I'm not mistaken. Ole Miss is a team to watch. They play pretty solid. I like their pitching staff. I like their defense. Their offense is what could hinder them in the getting into the later standings. But that's another team to watch. I can't give you any names right now because I've only seen a few games for each team this year, but that's another team I'd look out for.
Yeah, that's a good point that not many college games are on TV or we're too distracted with the pros. But I'm going to give you a couple teams that I think I like LSU pick, and I'm also going to go with Virginia is up there. Virginia is a strong team this year. Ole Miss is number 12, by the way. One team that's just got by far the best record is Louisiana Lafayette. They're the number one.
The Raging Cajun.
Raging Cajuns. 15.
They're always good.
It could be another Fresno State, maybe.
But the thing with that is they usually don't play a strong schedule, and that's what ends up hindering all these teams in the World Series. That's what
Cal
happens.
State Fullerton this year. No.
Cal State Poly is alive at number 5. But also, final word, I want to give a shout out to the Old Southwest Conference. There are a lot of good Texas teams. You've got Texas, Texas A&M, Texas Tech, Texas Christian, Houston, Rice, and even we'll say Arkansas in the conference. So the Old Southwest Conference is strong. I don't think Texas has too much of a shot. The interesting thing is they are playing Texas A&M in the opening game, and there's been a little fallout there, so there might be a little rivalry. And they're both down here in Houston playing at Rice. So 3 out of 4 teams down here in Houston are Old Southwest Conference foes, reunited for an old-fashioned brawl down here, and we'll probably revisit this subject as the College World Series develops.
Dave, if you don't mind, if I can get one more shout-out in there real quick.
Go ahead.
I just want to give a shout-out to my younger brother, David Lapierre, out of Alfred, New York. It's a sad way to end your year losing a 2-0 game where you only gave up 3 hits, 2 of them bunt singles. But I want to give you a shout-out for setting Section 5 records in New York, man. Your article's coming out. I'll get it out by next week. I just want to give you a shout-out and congratulate on a great high school career, and I look forward to seeing you pitch in D3, hopefully moving up to D1 in college, man.
That's awesome. Yeah, there's a lot of people that play baseball around the country at all levels, from high school on up to all divisions. Some of our writers play college ball, so good shout out there. we do have to wrap it up. We're out of time for today. We thank you for joining us on, again, this is Memorial Day. We'll be running the show all week. We hope you tune in and check out our website at sports-kings.com/reading between the seams. I'd like to thank my panelists again, Kevin, Kelvin, Leroy, and Michael. Appreciate you joining us, and we'll check you next week. Later.